going on, sports fans? It's your boy Fanatic from the Fanatic Sports Talk. Today we have our second episode of the show. Today is January 20th, 2021, Inauguration Day for the new president, Joe Biden. We're not going to be covering that because we're going to be covering all the new sports news that came out today, yesterday. A lot came. Toronto Blue Jays made some moves. Some exciting games from college basketball, the NBA, NHL last night. We're going to go over the new Lions head coach as well as honor the life and legacy of former Dodgers pitcher Don Sutton. So we got an exciting show. Let's hop right into it here with our top story here. The Toronto Blue Jays going on an absolute frenzy with their signings, signing not one, not two, but three big signings. They go out, they sign Kirby Yates, Michael Brantley, and George Springer. Three really big signings for a team that, they contended last year in Buffalo. Bo Bichette was having a good year. Vladimir Guerrero Jr. Was having an off year, but the team was overall looking dangerous. And I think with these new trades or these new accusations, I think this team really can be something special. You have Kirby Yates, who they got Ken Giles, I believe, a year and a half ago from Houston, who was a decent closer, but he elected free agency. So the Blue Jays were in a kind of a rough spot where they needed a closing pitcher, and they went out and they signed Kirby Yates to a 1 year deal. I believe it was $5 million. Kirby Yates used to close for the San Diego Padres. And I don't think the Padres really made that much of a move to go get him. So the Blue Jays, it was a nice move by the front office there to go out and pick up Kirby Yates because he's a solid guy in the bullpen that I think a lot of teams would like to have, and the Blue Jays were the ones that snagged him, which I think was really good. But then the Blue Jays front office wasn't done at Kirby Yates. They then went out and signed, I think, one of the top outfield free agents this year, George Springer, also from the Houston Astros. Springer, I mean, the rumors were the last couple of weeks he was talking with the Mets, the Blue Jays, I think the Yankees he was talking a little bit with. But those were kind of the three teams he was really talking with, and I think the Mets, I mean, they were the favorites. You look at Buster Olney, who analyst for ESPN, he said he was going to bet his house in Vermont, his family farmhouse, on George Springer going to the Mets. And I think, you look at what he signed for. He signed 6 years, $150 million. That's a lot of money. And you look at what the Mets were offering him. I think it was 5 years, 125 million. So the Mets weren't even close to the price. I think Springer wanted to come home to his or stay close to his native state of Connecticut. So I think that signing with the Blue Jays was really a good call by him. He's going to get to now play against the Yankees even more. Hopefully he doesn't cheat like he did with the Astros. But I think this is a really good signing for the Blue Jays. Something that if you're a Blue Jays fan, you got to be happy about when you get a type of player like George Springer. I mean, these type of players don't come around often, and I think we saw with the Francisco Lindor trade to the Mets. These superstars are moving around, and George Springer, when he's on the top of his game, he is one of the best players in baseball. But what team is not complete without three outfielders? So the Blue Jays go out and they get uh, Michael Brantley from the Houston Astros once again. Michael Brantley, a solid lefty bat. He can play left and right field. I don't think they announced his contract details, but I mean, that's another amazing signing. You look at George Springer, Michael Brantley, two guys who were really, along with Jordan Alvarez, the three solid outfielders of the Houston Astros. They led the Astros to a couple playoff runs, and I think that, now with the Blue Jays going out and signing these guys, that is a huge sign, huge upgrade for, because I think it was Teoscar Hernandez, Kevin Pillar, and maybe Derek Fisher were the three outfielders for the Blue Jays. I think this is a huge upgrade getting Brantley and Springer. They might even keep Hernandez out there. But if you keep their infield, you got Bo Bichette, you have Kevin Biggio if he plays well, you got Jansen behind the plate, you got Vlad Guerrero Jr. This is a scary Blue Jays team. I don't really know if they're going to be contending. I think Springer, Brantley, and Yates are going to be a huge upgrade, but I think it depends on how the younger guys do. Guys like Bo Bichette that really showed himself. Guys like Hyunjin Ryu, his first year with the team, how he's going to pitch next year and going forward, as well as Vlad Guerrero Jr. I think he lost like 50 pounds or so, which might, I mean, he's still going to be hitting for power, but hopefully that can help with his defense and his speed. So I think that it's really an upgrade for the Blue Jays. I think that they have to perform, and it depends on those younger guys because they do still have a lot of positions, a lot of holes that are pretty easily fixed, but I think that they're pretty close. And then you also look Reese McGuire they have, or Rowdy Tullis at first base. Like they have guys. Actually, I think they're. I don't know why I'm drawing a blank now, but their outfield I think was Gurriel Jr., Hernandez, and Grichuk maybe. But still, you can keep Yoris Gurriel Jr., Michael Brantley, George Springer. That's a solid outfield right there. Throw Teoscar Hernandez or Grichuk at the DH spot. And like I said, on the infield, you have Tellys at first, Biggio at second, Bo Bichette at short, Vlad Guerrero at third, Jansen or McGuire behind the plate, and like I said, Kirby Yates, solid guy in the pen. They also have Nate Pearson coming up, 24 years old, pitched a little last year. The guy's got a nasty fastball. I mean, he if he can play well, I think this Blue Jays team is. They also got Anthony Kay. Like they have just so much young talent on this team that I think if they can all perform and play well, this Blue Jays team could be better than the Yankees. But those young guys have to perform because George Springer, Brantley, and Kirby Yates all playing well isn't going to give the Blue Jays a pennant. So I think that it's got to be a nice balance there. But definitely an upgrade for the Toronto Blue Jays. And I think Blue Jays fans, you might have a good year. But moving on here, next up we got Philip Rivers, long time quarterback in the National Football League. I believe 17 years, mostly with the Los Angeles Chargers, sometimes with the Indianapolis Colts. I mean, that is he played 16 years for the Chargers, 1 year for the Colts, 17 years. I mean, he goes right next to Drew Brees as one of the best quarterbacks in NFL history. Um, he had, I think they said 63,000 passing yards, which was only behind Brees, Brady, Manton, Brett. I'm not sure what I'm saying. He had 63,000 passing yards, which was behind Drew Brees, Tom Brady, Peyton Manning, and Brett Favre. He is an 8-time Pro Bowler and fifth in league history with 421 touchdowns. Once again, only behind Brady, Brees, Manning, and Favre. So he is a top five quarterback in the NFL. And I think that, I mean, he had some ACL issues and some other issues, but I think that it really is a tremendous career for Philip Rivers. But it also does bring up the question for the Indianapolis Colts, who are they taking for their quarterback? I think they have to look for a long-term guy because Jacoby Brissett, who they currently have as their backup, is not a quarterback. He can come and play a couple drives, but I don't think he's the long-time guy that the Colts are looking for. And the Colts made it to the playoffs this year, so they're not getting a good enough draft spot where they can get a Josh or Justin Fields or Zach Wilson or someone else. Like I think they're slated 21st overall pick, so they're not going to be getting a top tier guy. I think they need to go out. They could be in the mix for Deshaun Watson. I don't know what they have to give up. I don't see them shipping away Jonathan Taylor or someone, but I think that I think that you could very easily see someone of Deshaun Watson's caliber, or even Sam Darnold or Cam Newton come into the Colts. I think Darnold said he was interested in the Colts. Fitzpatrick, like all these guys that are around that I think could fit with the Colts because the Indianapolis Colts they have so much talent with T.Y. Hilton, Eric Ebron, John Taylor, Nikhil Hines. Their defense is outstanding. You got the GOAT Rodrigo Blankenship. Like it is such a young team. It's such a good team that when you look at that AFC South, as I believe what they play in, ah, you got them, the Tennessee Titans who are playing really well. Like I think they have a chance. You got the Jaguars who I don't think Trevor Lawrence is going to make them that much better. I just think that, if the Colts can really solidify that quarterback position, you know, move on from, I mean, because like I said, they had a pretty good core. They had Andrew Luck, who unfortunately retired and had to put him in a situation where they had to go out and get Philip Rivers. But, I mean, one good year, Philip Rivers led him to the wild card round, and unfortunately they fell to I think I don't even know who they fell to, but still, I would say it was a huge plus on this. It was actually the Ravens, huge plus on the season. Um, I think that this Colts team likes to get a good quarterback. Maybe try to move up in the draft, try to trade to where the Vikings are at 14, 13. Zach Wilson might still be there. I think Patriots are looking to take him at 15. But if they can kind of trade up there and not necessarily get like a top five pick, like what the Texans are looking for, just kind of move up in the draft to like maybe 15 or so, just before the Patriots, maybe just before the or the 49ers, so that you could potentially get like a Zach Wilson or someone. Um, I think that the sky is the limit for the Indianapolis Colts. They have to do something to find that long term quarterback. And then I think, like I said, they have a good team for the next couple of years and years to come, which is I think good. And then moving on here, we're gonna do our daily NHL recap. Some big games in the National Hockey League last night. A lot of overtime games. I'm actually kind of shocked. I believe there was, I think, 10 or so games, three of which went in overtime. We'll start with the Columbus Blue Jackets and the Detroit Red Wings. That game was 2-2 after the three periods, so they went into overtime. In just 15 seconds into OT, Tyler Bertuzzi puts one in, and the Red Wings went 3-2. Huge win for the Red Wings. I believe this win puts them at, I think they're at 500, either 2-2 or 3-3. Huge win. On the flip side, the Columbus Blue Jackets fall to 1-2-1. So rough game for them. The Blue Jackets, um, I mean they played well. The Red Wings came out firing in overtime, and then we move on to Florida for the Florida Panthers taking down the Chicago Blackhawks. A lot of scoring in this one. All four periods actually had a score from both teams except for the Chicago Blackhawks in overtime. Florida came out of there with a 5-4 win. Um, just a very good game. In overtime there, Frank Vetrano for Florida put one in to put them up 5-4. Big win for the Panthers, taking down the Blackhawks. As for records for say, the Panthers continue their, I guess, winless or undefeated season at 2-0, and the Chicago Blackhawks fall to 0-3-1, which is kind of shocking. The Blackhawks you went a couple of years where they were in the Stanley Cup, and now they are 0-3-1, looking for their first win. And then our final overtime game was the Winnipeg Jets and the Ottawa Senators. Winnipeg, very consistent, scored a goal in all four periods. Ottawa kind of struggled late. They went up 3-2 after the second period, but then they couldn't do anything in the third period. Um, I don't know. Ellers really kind of rallied this Winnipeg team and brought them back in overtime. So I think that the Senators, they played a good game, but Winnipeg just was more consistent. Put up 4 goals over 4 periods. Really didn't give up. They played consistent hockey throughout the game, and I think that's what it takes to win games. And other notable games, I think I pointed this out in my what to watch yesterday. The Rangers and New Jersey Devils, 4-3 Devils take down the Rangers. Um, Pretty good game there. Jack Hughes scored 2 goals there, the former first round pick, and it was enough to take down the Rangers 4-3. So the Rangers still adjusting without Lundqvist. I believe fall to 1-2 on the year. So yeah, then the Devils moving to 2-0-1. And then really looking around, actually, I think one of the biggest games was the Pittsburgh Penguins and the Washington Capitals. The Pittsburgh Penguins and Capitals were tied at 4 after 3 periods. The Caps put up 3 in the first period, and the Penguins put up 3 in the second period. But then in overtime, it was Malkin, the veteran, um, who actually I believe I don't know why my scoring summary is all messed up here, but Sidney Crosby actually was the one that scored the ninth goal there for the Penguins to lift them past the Capitals. Malkin had the goal with actually just 3 minutes left in the game. It That was in the second period. Never mind. I don't know what I'm talking about there. But Sidney Crosby, though, 2 assists on the game, scores the game-winning goal to give the Penguins the win over the Washington Capitals. The Penguins, with this win, do improve to 2-2 on the year, while the Washington Capitals um, fall actually to 2-0-2. So They've had some close overtime games this year, haven't been able to pull it out. And then really looking around the NHL, we got I guess we got the Colorado Avalanche and the Los Angeles Kings. Um, Nathan McKinnon picked up his 500th career point as an Avalanche player, so congrats to him. Had 2 assists. But then other than that, the Avalanche went up 3-0, and the Kings really couldn't come back. They tried to score two late in the third period, but it wasn't really enough. They couldn't come back. So the Avalanche hold on to take that 3-2. And then I believe the final game we haven't talked about was the Philadelphia Flyers and Buffalo Sabres. The Flyers go up 3-0 thanks to Elliott, their goalkeeper, stopping 40, um, having 40 saves, I should say. Other than that, the Sabres really couldn't get anything done, and Flyers really nice game from them. And I mean, the Flyers they looked really well that game. If they can continue doing that, I think they could be a dominant team in the league. They are so far having a good year, 3-1 on the year. I think they got to play again tomorrow at Boston, so it should be a little bit of a tough game. But I think that they can potentially hold on there and continue their strong season in the NHL. So that's really it for the NHL scores of the day. A lot of overtime games, a lot of close games. I believe, like I said, I did pick New Jersey, New York yesterday for what to watch. I mean, it wasn't the best game, but it didn't disappoint. Moving on here to some more NFL news. The Detroit Lions have made a selection for their head coach, Dan Campbell, their new head coach. Campbell, the former Lions coach, or I think former defensive coach for the New Orleans Saints. He was actually not the defensive coordinator. He was the assistant head coach and a tight ends coach. He's replacing Matt Patricia, who I believe was in his third year or second year with the Detroit Lions. Really didn't get much done with the Lions. So I think this is a good signing here. They signed him for 6 years, so I think they're really looking for Campbell to kind of step up, change this Lions team, kind of build out some guys. Matt Stafford, kind of on his last years. So I think he's really looking to build something there, something that can compete against Aaron Rodgers. Potentially could be gone out of Green Bay, the Minnesota Vikings, and the Chicago Bears. So I think that that's something that they really could use. Um, Campbell, he's never coordinated in the NFL. His first, actually not his first. I mean, it's his first official NFL coaching job. He did for one season, do 12 games as an interim head coach for the Miami Dolphins. But the Lions see something in Campbell, and I think Brad Holmes, the general manager, is really hoping this one pans out because Matt Patricia didn't, and the Lions I don't think can survive another decade of sucking. So I think that they really could use a good coach, someone that can lead the team. Because they have guys, they have Marvin Jones, DeAndre Swift, Matt Stafford. Like they have the talent there, they just need to use it and find a coach that knows how to use it. And I think that Dan Campbell is someone that, like I said, worked with the tight ends in New Orleans, so he did get experience working with guys like Jared Cook, and I think he probably worked with Michael Thomas and Kamara and Drew Brees, so he knows what a winning football team looks like. He just needs to put that into Detroit and hope that the Lions really can, not replicate it, but somewhat, use that to potentially make a run in that NFC North division, if not make the playoffs through a wild card. Overall, good signing from the Detroit Lions. We just gotta watch and hope it's a good signing down the line. And to end out the show, once again, we have what to watch. I picked 3 games here today that are on tonight that I think really could be big games, key games to watch. The first game we do have is in the NBA between the 8-4 Boston Celtics and the 9-5 Philadelphia 76ers. 76ers are favored in this game by 5 points. The game is on at 7 o'clock on ESPN. These two teams are the two top teams in the NBA Atlantic Division, so they're going to be battling out here for potentially first place in that division. As well as Joel Embiid has the chance to return for the 76ers. I think he's missed the last couple games with a knee injury. So this game really could be a big one. Two really good teams this year, 8-4, 9-5. I think the winner, I believe, would take first place in that Atlantic Division. still early though. Moving on to our second what to watch game of the night, and we actually have a college basketball game. The only, believe it or not, it's one of the only ranked teams playing tonight. Is number 11 Creighton hosting Providence. They're one of just four ranked teams playing tonight. I mean, you look at the cancellations once again. You have almost 7 games canceled that are all within the top 25. The COVID season continues, but like I said, Providence Creighton, 7 o'clock on FS1. Creighton is the 11th ranked, currently 10-3 on the year. Providence 7-6. Two schools in the Big East. Providence looking for a win to get back into the conference, while Creighton's looking to win and keep their strong season alive. Um, I don't know why. I think Creighton actually is um, in Omaha, Nebraska. I don't know why that shocked me at first, but they're playing the game in Nebraska. Creighton 9-point favorites. It should be interesting if Providence can kind of hang in there and maybe bring the game down to the wire, because we saw last night with Pitt and Duke. That game came right down to the wire. I think this game really can be a big one. Once again, 7 o'clock on FS1. And the final game I have is back in the NBA at 7 o'clock. Once again, all three of these actually are at 7 o'clock. On the Yes Network, we have the Brooklyn Nets traveling to Cleveland to take on the Cleveland Cavaliers. Brooklyn 9-6, the Cavs 6-7. Brooklyn 10 points favorites, as they should be, considering Brooklyn is the third highest scoring team, and Cleveland is the I think either the second worst team or potentially the worst team in scoring. So it's not going to be a good game for the Cavs. But I did put this on here because Kyrie is returning from his little hiatus. So Kyrie Irving, KD, James Harden will all be playing together tonight against Cleveland, as well as they have a 4-game winning streak on the line. So they're looking to keep that alive. And like I said, Cleveland's been struggling. They started the year 3-0, but then they went 3-7 their last 10 games. So I think that Cleveland can really use a bounce back. But like I said, Brooklyn, for the first time in the Nets history, you're going to see James Harden, Kyrie Irving, and Kevin Durant all playing on the court at the same time. And that's going to just about do it for our show here today. A lot of news. And we got through it. I do want to talk about, before we sign off here, I had to just kind of click through my notes there to make sure I still have it. Don Sutton, former pitcher of the Los Angeles Dodgers, fortunately passed away, I believe today, at the age of 75. Don Sutton, I mean, he's one of the all-time greats, a member of the National Baseball Hall of Fame. He pitched 23 years in the major leagues for the Dodgers. Who else? He played for the Dodgers. He played for the Astros a little bit. He played for Milwaukee, the Angels, Oakland. I mean, he just had an overall career, finishing with, I believe, a 3 ERA. I mean, he really just had a great career. A 3.26 ERA, 324 and 256. But we do remember Don Sutton. He played with Sandy Koufax, part of that era. Don Sutton unfortunately passed away. But that's going to do for our short show here today. You watched the Fanatik Sports Talk show. I know this was another recorded one, but we are live every day at 4 o'clock Eastern Standard Time on this YouTube channel. We have new news, new sports, new talk. So if you enjoy sports, this is the place you want to be. Make sure you are subscribed, and I'll see you tomorrow. Peace out.